Hello, and welcome back to Sleepy Universe. Let the sharp edges of the day soften now. Release the need to think, to plan, to understand. Simply allow your attention to rest here on the sound of this voice and on the gentle silver light of the moon. Tonight, we drift not into a dark abyss, but into a soft, luminous glow. We will explore 100 sleepy facts about our constant, silent companion, the moon, from its violent birth to the patient, cosmic dance it shares with our world. Each fact is a stepping stone into deeper relaxation. You don't need to remember any of this. Your only purpose is to listen and to let your awareness be bathed in its cool, dreamy light. So, settle in. Feel the weight of your body being supported as if by a gentle, invisible tide. With each exhale, release a worry. With each inhale, draw in the quiet, silvery peace of the moonlight. Let's begin. The moon's violent, gentle birth. The moon was born not from a quiet gathering of dust, but from a patient, cataclysmic embrace, a slow-motion collision of unimaginable grace and power. In the solar system's early, chaotic years, a nascent, molten Earth found itself in the path of a wandering planetary body, Theia. Their meeting was not a crash, but a merging, a gentle, violent waltz that vaporized rock and metal, spinning a brilliant, incandescent ring of liquid stone around our wounded planet. From this ring of fire, through the patient, relentless pull of gravity, the moon peacefully coalesced, cooling over millennia into the serene, orbiting companion we know today, a silent monument to a violent beginning that resulted in a lasting, harmonious partnership. A celestial phoenix, born from an act of cosmic destruction. The moon's imperfect, leaning shape. The moon is not the perfect sphere it appears from our distant vantage point. It is a gently misshapen orb, slightly bulging towards Earth, as if in a permanent gravitational lean. Its form a patient and silent testimony to the enduring pull it feels towards its planetary partner. This quiet deformation, this egg-like shape, was born in its youth, when its crust was still soft and pliable, forever stretched by Earth's gravity, a lasting impression of cosmic affection frozen in rock, a reminder that even celestial bodies are shaped by the forces of their relationships. The seas that are not water, the quiet, dark patches you see on the moon, which ancient astronomers named Maria, the Latin word for seas, are not bodies of water, but vast, sprawling plains of ancient, hardened basalt lava. They are the ghostly, blue-grey scars of a more volcanic youth, when the moon's interior still held a warm, molten heart. Massive asteroid impacts, which created gigantic craters, cracked the lunar crust like an eggshell, allowing this liquid rock to well up from the depths in slow, deliberate, flooding waves. These basaltic floods then cooled over eons into smooth, dark rock, painting shadowy faces, tranquil oceans, and serene scenes on the lunar surface, a celestial canvas for dreamers and storytellers to interpret through the soft focus of time and distance. The moon's slow, patient departure. The moon is engaged in a slow, peaceful retreat, drifting away from our world at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters each year, nearly the same unhurried speed at which your fingernails grow. This gentle, inexorable departure is a patient, cosmic dance where the partners move imperceptibly apart, stretching the invisible thread of gravity between them over billions of years. As the moon retreats, it gently steals Earth's rotational energy, causing our planet's spin to slow, gradually stretching the length of our day. It is a dance of mutual adjustment, a silent, graceful farewell that unfolds on a timescale so vast it transcends all human history, a reminder that the cosmos operates with a patience that can lull the soul to sleep. The gravity that pulls the tides. The moon's gravity is a gentle, invisible hand that tugs not just at the oceans, but at the very fabric of our world. This pull creates a soft, rhythmic bulge in the planet's waters, a gravitational embrace that manifests as the steady, reliable pulse of the tides. This is the most visible and constant conversation between Earth and Moon, a silent, daily call and response, written in the rise and fall of the seas. It is a dialogue of force and mass that shapes coastlines, guides the migrations of countless creatures, and connects the rhythm of our planet to the serene, orbiting dance of its satellite, a cosmic connection felt in every lapping wave upon a slumbering shore. The hidden face of the moon. Because the moon is tidally locked, its rotation perfectly synchronized with its orbit, it shows us only one peaceful face, a constant, familiar visage of silent craters and serene Maria. The far side, often mistakenly called the dark side, is bathed in just as much sunlight as the side we see, but it is a hidden hemisphere, a private profile kept from our view, a quiet secret the moon has held for eons. This hidden face is more rugged and densely cratered, lacking the large, smooth Maria, a testament to a different history of bombardment, a landscape witnessed only by the silent, distant stars, a reminder that even our closest companions hold mysteries we are not meant to see. The scent of lunar dust, the dust that blankets the moon, a layer scientists call regolith, is a fine, abrasive, and glassy powder created by eons of relentless, microscopic meteorite impacts that have shattered and pulverized the lunar rock. It clings to everything with a tenacious, electrostatic grip. The Apollo astronauts who walked and slept upon its surface described its scent, carried back into the confined space of their lunar module on their suits and equipment, as being distinct and unexpected, like the sharp, smoky and metallic perfume of spent gunpowder. It is the enduring fragrance of an airless, ancient world, where nothing weathers, nothing decays, and the dust of ages remains forever sharp and fragrant, the smell of a silent, static history, the profound silence of the void. There is no sound on the moon. No wind whispers through its deep valleys. No water trickles over its ancient stones, for there is no atmosphere, no medium to carry the vibration of a voice or the rumble of an impact. It exists in a state of profound acoustic peace, a silence so deep and complete it is beyond our earthly imagination. On the moon, a meteorite impact of tremendous force, one that would carve out a new crater, would occur in utter, perfect stillness. It is a world of pure visual experience, a silent film playing out on a cosmic scale, a haven of quiet for a soul overstimulated by the constant noise of the modern world. The eternal footprints. The footprints left by the Apollo astronauts, pressed into the soft grey regolith, are not fleeting marks. In the moon's airless, waterless environment, they will remain perfectly preserved for millions of years, patient, ghostly scars in the dust, untouched by wind, rain, or the eroding touch of life. They are serene and lasting monuments to a fleeting, heroic visit, a dream pressed into the lunar surface by human courage. They wait in the silent, open-air museum of the moon, a collection of preserved steps for an audience that may never come, a testament to a moment when humanity reached out and gently touched the face of the night sky. The moon's deep, rhythmic tremors. The moon, though geologically quiet, is not entirely still. It experiences a gentle, rhythmic trembling called moonquakes. These are not caused by the shifting of tectonic plates as on Earth, but from deeper, more subtle forces. Some are triggered by the gravitational flexing of the lunar body as it orbits our world, its solid rock stretching and compressing in a slow planetary sigh. Others are caused by the drastic temperature changes between the blistering heat of the 2-week-long lunar day and the deep freeze of the 2-week-long night. The surface cracking and shifting like an old house settling. They are the moon's way of breathing, a deep internal shiver that reminds us it is a living, responsive world, not merely a dead rock in the sky. The patient lengthening of an earthly day. In the moon's gentle gravitational embrace, our own world is slowly being lulled into a more leisurely spin. As the moon pulls on Earth's tidal bulges, it acts as a subtle brake on our planet's rotation, a soft, constant friction against the turning of the world. This means that an Earth day is patiently, imperceptibly growing longer by a mere fraction of a second each century. The time when dinosaurs roamed saw days that were perhaps only 23 hours long, and in the far distant future, days will stretch even longer, all under the silent, slowing influence of our orbiting companion, a cosmic decelerator working on a scale of deep geological time, the wispy embrace of an almost atmosphere. The moon is cloaked in an atmosphere so thin and fragile, it is considered an exosphere, a wispy, gaseous veil, more tenuous than the best vacuum we can create on Earth. In this near nothingness, individual atoms and molecules soar for kilometers without ever touching one another, bouncing along the surface in lonely, graceful arcs. These rare particles, argon, helium, even traces of sodium, are gifts from the solar wind or released from the lunar soil itself, a ghostly exhalation that is constantly being stripped away by that same solar wind, a silent, losing cycle of breath and loss. The sun's relentless, unfiltered gaze, without a protective magnetic field or a substantial atmosphere to shield it. The moon's surface lies completely exposed to the full, harsh radiation of the sun. Cosmic rays, solar winds, and ultraviolet light fall unimpeded upon the regolith, baking it and implanting it with solar particles. This relentless bombardment is why the lunar surface is a pristine record of solar history, but it also means that any future dream of sleeping under the stars on the moon would require shelter from this silent, invisible rain of energy, a reminder that the cosmos is both beautiful and unforgiving. The ghostly glow of Earthshine. There is a time in the slim crescent phase when you can see the full ashen circle of the moon, its dark portion glowing with a soft, ghostly light. This is Earthshine, also called the new moon in the old moon's arms. It is sunlight reflected from our own bright blue and white Earth, journeying across space to gently illuminate the lunar night. It is our own planet's light, cast back at us in a serene celestial mirror, a quiet demonstration that we too are a source of light in the darkness, a beacon for our silent companion. The moon's surprisingly icy poles, hidden in the permanent freezing shadows of deep polar craters where the sun's warmth never reaches, the moon holds a precious treasure: water ice. These cold traps, like Shackleton Crater, are among the coldest places in our entire solar system, preserving ancient ice delivered by comets over billions of years. This ice is a dreaming resource, a frozen memory of the solar system's youth, and a potential wellspring for future explorers. A promise of water, air, and fuel sleeping in the eternal dark at the edges of the silver light. The violent peace of a micrometeorite impact. The serene silence of the moon is punctuated by a slow, steady drumbeat of tiny, high-velocity impacts, micrometeorites, some no larger than a grain of sand, constantly strike the surface at speeds many times that of a rifle bullet. Each impact vaporizes a tiny pit of rock and soil, a miniature, silent explosion that slowly, patiently gardens the regolith, churning the top layer over millennia. It is a gentle, continuous sandblasting on a geological scale, a reminder that peace in space is not the absence of action, but a slower, more patient kind of change. The lopsided lump of a core. The moon's center of mass is not perfectly aligned with its geometric center. It is offset by several kilometers towards the Earth, a lopsidedness locked within its rocky body. This is a lingering gravitational signature from its ancient past, a frozen lean towards its planetary partner, as if the very heart of the moon is pulled eternally in our direction. This slight imbalance affects its rotation and the precise shape of its orbit, a hidden internal yearning written into the fundamentals of its being. The echoes of human art on the surface. Resting on the fine lunar dust is a singular piece of human art, a small aluminum sculpture called Fallen Astronaut, placed by the crew of Apollo 15 in 1971. It lies beside a plaque bearing the names of 14 astronauts and cosmonauts who died in the pursuit of space exploration. It is a somber, quiet memorial, a tiny, human-shaped figure, left in the profound stillness, a permanent, artistic tribute to courage and sacrifice, sleeping under the black velvet of the sky on a world far from home. The moon's Grand Canyon. The moon possesses its own vast canyon system, the Valles Alpines, or Alpine Valley. This immense gash, over 160 kilometers long and up to 10 kilometers wide, slices through the lunar Alps. It is a breathtaking graben, a valley formed when the crust between two parallel faults dropped downward, a place where the moon's skin once stretched and split open, revealing deeper layers. Peering into it through a telescope is like looking into a deep, serene wound that has long since healed over with a piece of stone and shadow. The dancing dust of electrostatic levitation. In a strange and beautiful phenomenon, the lunar dust does not always lie still. Charged by the sun's unfiltered ultraviolet light, the fine regolith can become electrostatically levitated. Theories suggest that at the boundary between day and night, the terminator, these charged dust particles might float and hop just above the surface, creating a faint, shimmering, ethereal haze of dancing motes. It is a slow, silent ballet of dust, a gentle, almost magical movement in the vacuum, a hidden dance at the edge of light and shadow. The whisper-thin tail of a sodium comet, the moon is followed by a long, ethereal and invisible tail, not of dust, but of sodium atoms, being constantly knocked off the surface by solar wind impacts. These atoms are pushed away from the sun, forming a faint comet-like tail that stretches far behind the moon in its orbit. For a few days around the new moon, this sodium stream washes over Earth, causing a slight, barely detectable glow in our upper atmosphere, a gentle, cosmic exhalation that briefly touches our own sky before fading into the void, the consistent chill of eternal shadows. While the sunlit areas of the moon swing between extreme heat and cold, the floors of its permanently shadowed craters exist in a state of deep, unvarying cryogenic freeze. Temperatures in these abyssal dark places can hover just a few tens of degrees above absolute zero, a cold so profound and constant that it has preserved a record of the early solar system for billions of years. These are the moon's deep freezers, silent, dark, and cold beyond human comprehension, holding secrets in their icy grasp. The moon's role in stabilizing our world. The moon is not merely a companion, it is a silent gravitational guardian. Its steadying influence acts as a gyroscope for Earth's axial tilt, preventing drastic and chaotic shifts in our planet's orientation over geological time. Without the moon's gentle hand, Earth's tilt could vary wildly, leading to extreme and unpredictable climate changes that would make the stable, gentle seasons we know impossible. It is the great stabilizer in the sky, the reason for the predictable rhythm of our years, a foundational force for the peaceful evolution of life. The library of lunar samples, the 382 kilograms of rocks and soil brought back by the Apollo astronauts, are not merely souvenirs. They are a pristine library of solar system history, curated in nitrogen-filled vaults at NASA's Johnson Space Center. These samples are protected from Earth's atmosphere, their cosmic story preserved. Scientists still study them today, unlocking new secrets with more advanced technology. Each pebble, a chapter in a deep, silent history that speaks of volcanic fires, primordial impacts, and the ancient environment of space itself. The ghost crater and buried history. Beneath the dark, smooth plains of the Maria, hidden from view, lie the ghostly remains of even more ancient craters. These ghost craters, or buried basins, are the faint, circular outlines of structures that were flooded by the same lava flows that created the seas. They are like submerged mountains, seen from a great height through deep, still water, visible only as subtle, spectral ripples in the landscape, hints of a world that existed before the great volcanic resurfacing, a hidden geology sleeping under a blanket of stone. The transient, glowing phenomena. For centuries, astronomers have reported fleeting, mysterious lights on the moon's surface, brief, localized brightenings or obscurations known as transient lunar phenomena, TLP. These could be tiny, temporary releases of subsurface gases, the faint glow of impact events, or even electrostatic effects disturbing the dust. They are the moon's fleeting whispers, brief winks of light in the darkness that remind us that it is not a completely dead world, but one that still, on rare occasions, stirs in its sleep. The simple, profound physics of a flag. The iconic waving of the American flag on the moon in the vacuum where no breeze blows was a result of simple, clever engineering and physics. The flag was hung from a horizontal rod with a telescoping arm to keep it extended, and the astronauts twisted the pole back and forth to plant it deep into the soil. This inertia-driven motion made the flag appear to wave, a seeming breeze in a world without air. It was a silent, symbolic movement, a ripple of human presence created not by wind, but by the deliberate, physical action of exploration. The moon's grandest basin, the South Pole Aitken Basin, on the far side of the moon, is one of the largest known impact craters in the entire solar system. This colossal scar, over 2,500 kilometers in diameter and 13 kilometers deep, is a profound dent in the lunar surface, a testament to a cataclysmic impact early in the moon's history. Its depth exposes the moon's lower crust and possibly even its mantle, making it a silent, natural laboratory for understanding the interior composition of a planetary body, a deep well of geological secrets. The lingering footprints of orbit. The Apollo missions left more than footprints on the surface. The third stages of the mighty Saturn V rockets and the ascent stages of the lunar modules were deliberately crashed into the moon after their duties were complete. These impacts, planned for seismic experiments, created their own small new craters. Their remains now sleep scattered across the surface, silent, man-made meteorites, their final resting places marked on lunar maps, a permanent part of the moon's ever-growing history of impacts. The future dream of lunar time. As we look to a future of permanent lunar habitation, a new question softly emerges. What time is it on the moon? There is no official lunar time zone. Future settlers may adopt Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, or they might create their own, perhaps tied to the location of their base, a Lunar Standard Time. It is a serene, philosophical problem. How does humanity mark the passage of hours on a world where a day lasts a month, and the sun hangs motionless in the sky for weeks? It is the dream of a new rhythm of life, waiting to be written. The moon's internal layers of silent history. Beneath its cratered skin, the moon holds a simple stratified interior, much like a silent, fossilized onion. Data from seismometers left by Apollo astronauts revealed a structure of a crust, a mantle, and a core, a small, partially molten heart. This core is not a dynamo like Earth's, but a quieter, more solid center. Its faint residual warmth, a dying ember from the violent forces of its birth. The mantle, thick and mostly rigid, contains the frozen memories of ancient magma oceans, while the crust, of varying thickness, tells a tale of the late, heavy bombardment that shaped its face. It is a world of layered slumber, each stratum a chapter in a silent geological autobiography. The consistent selenographic ballet. From our earthly perspective, the moon appears to wobble gently in its orbit, a slow, rhythmic rocking known as libration. This is not a true instability, but a serene and predictable ballet of celestial mechanics, allowing us to peer around its edges and glimpse a total of about 59% of its surface over time. This graceful rocking arises from the slight variations in its orbital speed and the tilt of its axis, a gentle nodding in the sky, as if the moon is slowly shaking its head no to the idea that we could ever see all its secrets at once. It is a patient, oscillating dance that reveals its hidden landscapes in a slow, tantalizing reveal. The permanence of human artifacts. Scattered across the silent plains are the artifacts of human ingenuity, left undisturbed in the absolute stillness. The lunar module's descent stages, the rovers, the science experiments, and even bags of human waste all remain exactly as they were left, frozen in time. These are not litter, but a pristine archaeological site, a time capsule of 20th century technology resting in a perfect vacuum. They are silent monuments to a brief, brilliant moment of exploration, sleeping under the stars, their metal and plastic unchanged by the elements that do not exist there, waiting for a future generation to discover them anew. The moon's grandest mountain ranges. The moon boasts magnificent mountain ranges, the remnants of giant impact basins whose rifts were thrown up like the petals of a stone flower. The lunar Apennines, for example, tower over the landscape, with peaks rising over 5,000 meters, yet they appear as soft, rounded humps in the low-gravity light. These are not young, jagged mountains like the Himalayas, but ancient, weathered giants, their sharp edges softened by eons of micrometeorite bombardment, their slopes covered in a soft, grey blanket of regolith. They stand as silent, sleeping titans, casting long, sharp shadows across the plains in the low-hanging sun. The subtle, lingering sway of the tides on land. The moon's gravitational pull is a hand so gentle, it not only moves the oceans, but also flexes the very crust of the earth. This solid earth tide causes the ground beneath our feet to rise and fall rhythmically by several centimeters each day. We cannot feel this slow, planetary breath, this gentle swelling and contracting of the continent itself, but sensitive instruments can detect it. It is the most profound, hidden expression of the lunar bond, a whisper so quiet it moves the rock upon which we build our cities, a deep terrestrial heartbeat synchronized to the moon's orbit. The permanently cold traps of the poles. The polar craters, like Shackleton and Faustini, are realms of eternal cold, deep freezes where temperatures have likely not risen above minus 200 degrees Celsius for billions of years. These are cold traps, so effective that they can capture and preserve volatile substances like water ice, but also other, more exotic compounds like frozen nitrogen, methane, and carbon dioxide. They are nature's perfect deep freeze laboratories, preserving a chemical record of the comets and asteroids that have delivered the ingredients of life to the inner solar system, a frozen library of cosmic chemistry sleeping in the perpetual dark. The moon's faint, dusty, exospheric weather. The moon's tenuous exosphere is not static. It has a kind of weather. The concentration of its sparse atoms changes with the time of the lunar day and the moon's passage through Earth's magnetotail. When the solar wind blows, it can sweep some particles away. When the moon is in Earth's magnetic shadow, the exosphere can briefly, slightly thicken. There are even dust storms of a sort, not of wind-blown dust, but of those electrostatically levitated particles, creating a faint, dynamic haze that shifts and changes with the sun's angle, a silent, ethereal meteorology. The consistent rhythm of meteor showers. The moon experiences its own silent version of our meteor showers. When Earth passes through the debris trail of a comet, producing a shower like the Perseids or Geminids in our sky, the moon is also bombarded by the same particles, without an atmosphere to burn them up. These particles strike the surface directly at tremendous speeds, each creating a tiny new crater and a brief, silent flash of light that, if one were watching from the lunar surface, would be a frequent, star-like twinkle in the black sky above, a serene, impact-based light show. The lingering scent on a spacesuit. The Apollo astronauts reported that after their moonwalks, when they removed their helmets in the confined cabin, they were greeted by a distinct and unexpected odor. The lunar dust, which clung to their suits, had a sharp, pungent, and metallic smell, often compared to spent gunpowder or wet ashes. It was the scent of a world where rocks have been pulverized in a vacuum, and their chemical bonds, freshly broken, were eager to react. It was the smell of the moon itself, an olfactory memory of an airless, ancient, and profoundly alien environment, a scent that lingered in their craft and their memories. The ghostly glow of the lunar horizon. Just before sunrise on the moon, a strange and beautiful phenomenon occurs along the terminator line. A faint glow can be seen illuminating the lunar mountains even before the sun itself has crested the horizon. This is not sunlight scattering through an atmosphere, but an effect caused by sunlight reflecting off of electrostatically levitated dust particles hovering just above the surface. It is a dust horizon glow, a soft pre-dawn luminescence that paints the peaks with a ghostly ethereal light, a silent herald of the long day to come. The moon's role in the history of science. The moon was the first celestial body whose motion was understood through the law of universal gravitation, a silent, key witness in the scientific revolution, its predictable orbit around Earth, and Earth's around the Sun, provided a perfect, clockwork model that validated the theories of Newton and those who came after. It was a grand, visible proof that the same physical laws governing a falling apple also governed the cosmos. In this way, the moon was a silent teacher, a luminous classroom in the sky that helped humanity discover its place in a mechanistic, understandable universe. The consistent pull on the atmosphere. The moon's gravity exerts a gentle but measurable pull on Earth's atmosphere, creating atmospheric tides. These are subtle bulges of air that travel around the globe, far less noticeable than oceanic tides, but detectable by sensitive barometers. This is the moon, speaking to the very air we breathe, a soft global pressure wave that ebbs and flows with the lunar day, a reminder that its influence extends through every layer of our world, from the solid ground to the liquid seas to the gaseous envelope that sustains life. The permanence of human pathways, the tracks left by the lunar roving vehicles, the first wheels to ever roll on another world, remain as clear and crisp as the day they were made. They snake across the regolith, a network of purposeful lines connecting landing sites to experiments and geological features. These are not just tracks. They are the first roads on another world, a permanent record of human curiosity and movement, waiting in the silent dust for eternity, or until a future traveler gently erases them with their own. The moon's faint, indigenous, magnetic patches. While the moon lacks a global magnetic field, the surface is dotted with small, localized, and fossilized magnetic fields. These are the ghostly remnants of its ancient global dynamo, now extinct, preserved in certain magnetic rocks. These patches are too weak to protect against solar radiation, but they can create miniature, localized magnetic anomalies, deflecting the solar wind in tiny, invisible umbrellas. They are like scattered, dormant compass needles, pointing to a time, billions of years ago, when the moon's heart was still molten and active. The dream of a lunar library. A fascinating project, the Lunar Library, is a digital archive containing 30 million pages of human knowledge, history, and DNA sequences encoded on tiny nickel nanofiche disks. It was sent to the moon aboard a private spacecraft with the goal of preserving a backup of human civilization for billions of years. It now rests on the lunar surface, a silent, modern-day Alexandria, a dream of immortality etched in metal, waiting patiently in the cold and dark for a future reader, human or otherwise, to discover its stored wisdom. The moon's slowing spin into sync. The moon was not always tidally locked. In its youth, it spun faster, showing all its sides to the Earth. But over hundreds of millions of years, the gravitational tug of Earth's tidal bulges acted as a brake, gradually slowing the moon's rotation until it settled into its current, synchronous state. This was a slow, cosmic process of settling into a comfortable, energy-efficient rhythm with its partner, a gentle deceleration into the peaceful, single-phase pose it now holds forever. The consistent chemistry of the regolith. Lunar soil is not like Earth soil. It contains no organic matter, no decaying life. It is a pure mineralogical record. It is rich in oxygen, silicon, iron, calcium, and aluminum, and laced with glassy spherules created by the heat of impacts. This chemistry is uniform in its basic elements, yet varies subtly from region to region, telling a story of different rock types and different impact histories. It is the fundamental, unadulterated stuff of a terrestrial world, a simple, elemental powder that is the baseline of planetary surfaces. The moon's role in eclipsing the sun. The moon is the perfect size and at the perfect distance to occasionally, and with breathtaking precision, cover the disk of the sun perfectly during a total solar eclipse. This perfect celestial coincidence, the sun being about 400 times larger than the moon and also about 400 times farther away, allows the moon to reveal the sun's glorious, wispy corona. These eclipses are not mere shadows. They are moments of profound cosmic alignment, a silent, temporary partnership between two vastly different bodies that, from our vantage point, appear as perfect partners in a dance of light and dark. The lingering question of lunar tectonics. The moon is not entirely tectonically dead. Recent studies of the Apollo seismic data suggest the existence of very rare deep moonquakes that may be related to the slow, ongoing contraction of the moon as its interior continues to cool. This causes the crust to subtly shrink, forming lobate scarps, long, cliff-like faults. This is a slow, geological sigh, a faint internal shifting that shows the moon is still, ever so slightly, settling and cooling, a world not yet completely frozen in time. The future sound of lunar wind. While the moon itself is silent, a future with a permanent base will introduce new, gentle sounds to its stillness. The hum of life support systems, the whisper of circulating air, the low vibration of machinery. These will be the first consistent sounds the moon has ever known. And outside, on the surface, a flag for a permanent base would not wave inertly. It would be moved by the pressure of air venting from an airlock, creating a soft, rhythmic flapping, the sound of human breath making a breeze on a world without wind. The moon's ancient, faded, magnetic heart. Billions of years ago, the moon likely possessed a global magnetic field, generated by a churning molten core in a dynamic dance called a dynamo. This protective field, like Earth's, would have shielded its surface from the solar wind. But as the moon's small core cooled and solidified, this dynamo gently faded, its magnetic heart slowing to a whisper, and then falling silent. The faint, localized magnetic anomalies we detect today are the last fossilized echoes of this once vigorous force, a memory of a protective embrace long since withdrawn. The consistent palette of lunar colors. To the human eye, the moon appears in shades of gray, a monochrome world. But through sensitive instruments and enhanced imaging, a subtle, beautiful color palette emerges. There are hints of blues in the titanium-rich soils of the Maria, soft browns in the iron-oxidized regions, and even pale greens in olivine-containing areas. These are not vibrant hues, but gentle, pastel whispers of color, a muted watercolor painting on a canvas of stone, visible only when the light is broken down into its spectral components. The moon as a cosmic shield. In its silent, patient orbit, the moon has long acted as a gravitational shield for Earth, its mass drawing in and absorbing countless asteroids and comets that might otherwise have struck our world. Many of the craters that pockmark its face are the scars of impacts that never reached Earth, a silent sacrifice that has potentially spared our planet from more frequent global extinctions. It is a celestial guardian, a pockmarked sentinel that has taken blows meant for us. Its battered surface, a testament to a protective, gravitational watch. The dream of lunar agriculture. Scientists are patiently experimenting with growing plants in simulated lunar regolith, a quiet prelude to future sustenance. The results show that while the soil itself is sterile and lacking in key nitrogen compounds, with the careful addition of nutrients, bacteria, and water, life can take root. Seeds have sprouted in this alien earth, a tender, green promise that one day, enclosed gardens under domes might bloom, their roots nestled in moon dust, their leaves reaching toward artificial suns, a serene vision of life persevering in the most silent of soils. The phenomenon of moon illusion. When the moon hangs low on the horizon, it appears mysteriously, profoundly larger than when it is high in the sky. This is the moon illusion, a gentle trick of the human mind, not of optics. Our brain, comparing the moon to distant trees and buildings, interprets it as being more distant and therefore larger. When it is high up, with no reference points, it seems smaller. It is a serene perceptual magic, a reminder that our experience of the cosmos is always filtered through the beautiful, fallible lens of our own consciousness. The moon's slow, gravitational unraveling. In the far, far future, as the sun expands into a red giant, a delicate and final dance will occur. Earth's tides, raised by the sun's immense girth, will begin to pull the moon inward. For a time, it may spiral closer, appearing larger in our swollen sun sky, before potentially passing the Roche limit and being gently torn apart by tidal forces, its pieces forming a brilliant, temporary ring around Earth. It is a slow, cosmic finale, a patient unraveling of a billion-year partnership, a silent end written in the laws of gravity. The whisper of solar wind implants. The lunar regolith is a perfect record of the sun's history. For the solar wind, a stream of charged particles, has been implanting itself into the dust grains for billions of years. By studying these particles, scientists can read the ancient composition of our star, understanding how it has changed over eons. The moon, in its stillness, has been a silent, passive collector of stellar data, a library not of books, but of atoms fired from the heart of the sun. The consistent rhythm of orbital resonances. The moon's orbit is not just a simple circle. It is shaped by subtle gravitational harmonies called resonances with the sun and Earth. These resonances cause its orbit to slowly change shape, cycling between more and less elliptical over an 18.6-year period. This long, slow rhythm affects the severity of tides and eclipses, a deep cosmic breath in the Earth moon system, a patient, predictable pulse that governs the relationship between our world and its companion. The lingering presence of human breath. The backpacks worn by the Apollo astronauts, their portable life support systems, vented their exhaled carbon dioxide and other gases directly into the lunar vacuum. For a few moments, the first human breaths, the water vapor, the nitrogen, the carbon dioxide, mingled with the tenuous exosphere, a tiny, temporary cloud of human existence in the absolute void. It was a fleeting biological signature, quickly dissipated by solar radiation, but a profound one, the first exhalation of life on a dead world. The moon's role in stabilizing Earth's climate. The moon's steadying hand on Earth's axial tilt has provided a stable climate over geological time, a consistency that allowed life to evolve and thrive in a relatively predictable environment. Without this gravitational anchor, Earth's tilt could wobble chaotically, leading to extreme climate swings that would make complex life difficult to sustain. The moon is thus not just a companion in the sky, but a silent, fundamental partner in the story of life on Earth, a guardian of temperate seasons and gentle evolutionary progress. The ghostly light of ashen glow, a second, even fainter glow, sometimes illuminates the new moon's dark side. Nestled within the brighter crescent of Earthshine, this ashen glow is sunlight reflected, first from Earth to the moon, and then reflected again from the moon back to Earth. It is a light echo, a ghost of a ghost, a visual whisper so delicate it is often drowned by the brighter Earthshine, but it represents an almost impossibly serene chain of reflection across the cosmic void. The moon's porous, fractured interior. Data suggests that the moon's crust is not solid, but is a fractured porous megaregolith, a layer of rubble and broken rock that extends kilometers deep. This is the result of the colossal impacts of the late heavy bombardment, which shattered the upper crust into a giant, loose pile of debris. The moon, beneath its surface, is a world of hidden cavities and cracks, a silent, subterranean labyrinth created by the violence of its youth. The consistent pull on the human spirit. The moon has been a constant muse for humanity, inspiring myth, poetry, art, and music across all cultures and millennia. Its serene, changing face has been a canvas for our stories, a marker of time for our rituals, and a symbol of mystery, love, and madness. This gravitational pull on the human spirit is as real as its pull on the tides, a silent cultural force that has shaped our dreams and our art since the dawn of consciousness. The future sound of silence. For astronauts on the moon, the silence outside their suits is not merely the absence of noise, but a positive, palpable presence. It is a profound quiet that presses in on the ears, a sensation so complete it becomes a thing in itself. In this silence, the sounds of one's own body, the rush of blood, the beat of the heart, the rhythm of breath, become the dominant soundtrack, a private biological concert played against an infinite, silent backdrop. The moon's wobble and future tides. The moon's orbit experiences a slow precession or wobble, known as the nodal precession, which completes a cycle every 18.6 years. This subtle change in angle alters the declination of the moon, which in turn affects the height of the tides on Earth. In combination with rising sea levels, this wobble is predicted to lead to a significant increase in coastal flooding in the coming decades, a gentle, celestial rhythm, now interacting with the consequences of human activity on Earth. The permanence of laser. Range. Finding. Astronauts on the Apollo missions left behind arrays of corner cube retroreflectors, essentially sophisticated mirrors. For decades, scientists on Earth have been firing powerful lasers at these arrays and timing the light's return. This lunar laser ranging experiment provides extraordinarily precise measurements of the Moon's distance, its orbit, and even tests of general relativity. It is a silent, ongoing conversation of light between the two worlds, a photon-based dialogue that measures the cosmos with serene accuracy. The dream of a lunar radio telescope. The far side of the Moon is the most radio-quiet location in the inner solar system, permanently shielded from the roaring radio noise of Earth. Placing a radio telescope there would allow astronomers to listen to the faintest whispers of the early universe, signals drowned out everywhere else. It is a dream of pure, undisturbed listening, a chance to hear the cosmic dawn from a sanctuary of silence, a serene ear pressed against the void. The Moon's subtle, gravitational symphony. Every object in the Earth-Moon system, from a satellite to the International Space Station, is dancing to the subtle, complex gravitational music of the two bodies. Their combined gravity creates regions of stability and instability, known as Lagrange points. These are places where the gravitational pulls and the orbital motion perfectly balance, creating serene, gravitational eddies in the flow of space. Cosmic harbors where a spacecraft can almost rest, held in a delicate, silent balance. The lingering thermal memory of the surface. The lunar regolith is an excellent insulator. Just a few centimeters beneath the surface, the wild temperature swings between day and night are dramatically dampened. The soil retains the cold of the long night and the heat of the long day, creating a more thermally stable environment underground. This thermal memory is a key consideration for future habitats, which could nestle in this serene, subsurface stability, protected from the extreme rhythms of the surface. The Moon as a stepping stone to the cosmos. With its low gravity and lack of atmosphere, the Moon is a perfect, serene gateway for deeper space exploration. Launching rockets from its surface requires far less energy than from Earth. It is a natural spaceport, a silent, orbital dock where ships could be built and launched toward Mars and beyond, its dusty plains potentially becoming the quiet starting point for humanity's next great journey into the solar system. The consistent beauty of Earthrise. From the surface of the Moon, Earth does not rise and set in a daily rhythm. From most locations, it hangs motionless in the sky, moving only in a small, slow circle as the Moon librates. But from orbit, the sight of Earthrise over the lunar horizon, as witnessed by the Apollo 8 crew, is a vision of profound, serene beauty. A vibrant, living blue and white marble rising over a dead, grey landscape. A transformative image that encapsulates the fragility and uniqueness of our home in the cosmic dark. The Moon's role in the evolution of life. The tidal pools created by the Moon's gravitational pull are hypothesized to have been the cradle of life. The unique, dynamic environments where the complex chemical processes leading to the first self-replicating molecules could have occurred. The constant, gentle cycle of wetting and drying, of concentration and dilution may have provided the perfect rhythmic catalyst for life's emergence. The moon, therefore, may not just be a guardian of life, but a silent midwife at its birth, the permanence of a human geocache. The Apollo Goodwill Rock, a small piece of lunar basalt, later broken into fragments and distributed to 135 nations and the 50 US states, is a unique geocache of cosmic proportions. These fragments, gifted as a symbol of peace and shared exploration, are pieces of another world, now scattered across our own. They are silent, stony ambassadors, connecting the soil of Earth to the dust of the moon in 1,000 different locations. The moon's faint, seismic hum. The Apollo seismometers detected a very faint, continuous background vibration, a deep planetary hum. Its source is not entirely clear, but it may be the result of the constant, tiny impacts of micrometeorites, the thermal cracking of rocks at sunrise, or even the deep internal settling of the lunar body. It is the moon's baseline vital sign, a quiet, persistent tremor that proves even in its stillness, it is subtly, imperceptibly alive. The future of lunar timekeeping. The establishment of a permanent lunar base will require a new official time standard, Lunar Standard Time. But will it be tied to UTC, or will it be a separate, independent system based on the local gravitational environment, where time runs very slightly faster than on Earth? This is a serene, philosophical and practical problem, a question of how humanity will mark the hours on a world with a rhythm all its own, a new tick of the clock for a new world. The moon's aroma of space. The spent gunpowder smell reported by astronauts is not the smell of the moon itself, but the smell of the moon's soil after it has been oxidized in the moist, oxygen-rich environment of their spacecraft. In the pure lunar vacuum, the dust has no scent at all. The aroma is a chemical reaction, the silent, pristine soil meeting the conditions of a living world for the first time, a scent born of the encounter between the ancient and the alive, the consistent geometry of eclipses, the perfect alignment of sun, moon, and earth that creates a total solar eclipse is a temporary cosmic gift. Because the moon is slowly drifting away, in about 600 million years, it will appear too small in our sky to completely cover the sun. Total solar eclipses will cease to occur, becoming a thing of the past. We live in a unique moment in cosmic history, privileged to witness this perfect, silent covering of the solar disk, a fleeting, astronomical coincidence. The moon as a catalyst for science fiction. The moon has long been a destination for the human imagination, the setting for countless stories of journey and discovery, from Lucian of Samosata in the 2nd century to Jules Verne and H.G. Wells. These stories, these dreams of lunar travel, quietly prepared the cultural ground for the actual Apollo missions, proving that the first step to reaching another world is to dream of it in serene, detailed wonder, the lingering mystery of its origin. While the giant impact hypothesis is the leading theory, the moon's origin still holds gentle mysteries. The precise isotopic similarities between Earth and moon rocks are almost too perfect, suggesting a more complex or violent merging than initially thought. The birth of our companion is not a settled fact, but a serene, evolving story, a puzzle that new missions and new rocks continue to slowly, patiently solve. The moon's ultimate lesson in serenity. Above all, the moon is a masterclass in serenity. It does not strive, it does not rush, it simply is. It endures the bombardment, the extreme temperatures, the absolute silence with a patient, gravitational grace. It teaches us the power of stillness, the beauty of phases, and the quiet confidence of an object that has found its orbit and holds to it season after season, eon after eon. It is the universe's great mediator, a reminder that at the heart of all existence there is a deep, dark, and peaceful stillness. The moon's gentle vibrational secrets. Its slow, rocking wobble, known as libration, is not merely a side-to-side nod, but a complex, three-dimensional motion, allowing patient observers to glimpse slivers of its hidden far side over time. This gentle sway is a serene dance of orbital mechanics, a subtle promise that no secret is entirely kept, and that with enough time and patience, every hidden face will eventually reveal a sliver of itself. The permanence of a fallen satellite. Resting on the lunar surface are the remains of satellites that have completed their missions, like NASA's Lunar Atmosphere and Dust Environment Explorer, LADEE. It was deliberately guided to an impact, its final resting place, a new, man-made crater. These silent, metallic graves are the modern counterparts to the asteroids of old, a peaceful return of our own creations to the dust from which they were forged. The moon's faint, indigenous water cycle. There is a gentle, almost imperceptible water cycle on the moon. During the lunar day, solar wind can interact with the soil to create tiny amounts of water molecules. These molecules may hop across the surface, following the warmth until they fall into the permanent cold traps of the polar shadows, where they accumulate as ice over billions of years. It is a slow, silent migration of molecules, a whisper of a hydrological cycle in their ultimate desert. The consistent pull on biological clocks. The moon cycles have subtly influenced the rhythms of life on Earth for eons, a phenomenon known as circulunar rhythms. Certain coral species synchronize their spawning to the full moon, and the reproductive cycles of some nocturnal animals are tuned to its light. It is a gentle, biological tide, a silent, lunar metronome, ticking within the very DNA of earthly creatures. The dream of lunar caves. Recent observations suggest the existence of vast, stable lava tubes beneath the surface, caverns dozens of meters wide and hundreds of kilometers long. These natural tunnels, sheltered from radiation, temperature swings, and micrometeorites, are the dream locations for future lunar cities. They are silent, underground cathedrals of stone, waiting in the dark to become shelters for human dreams. The moon's role in the Chelyabinsk event. On the same day, a meteor exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia. In 2013, a much larger asteroid passed safely by Earth. Its path was such that the moon's gravity had gently nudged it just enough, years or centuries before, to ensure it missed our planet. It was an unseen, silent act of cosmic deflection, a guardian's hand subtly altering a trajectory to avert a greater disaster. The lingering sway of the tides on life's migration. The moon's tidal pull may have guided the very migration of life from the sea to the land. The rhythmic exposure of tidal zones created a unique, transitional environment where species could gradually adapt to breathing air and withstanding sunlight, a gentle daily trainer for the greatest adventure in evolutionary history. The moon's fairy castle terrain. In the low-gravity, vacuum environment, the fine lunar dust can become electrostatically sculpted into delicate, fragile structures. While not true castles, the term describes the way the dust clings together, forming intricate, miniature landscapes that would collapse under their own weight in Earth's gravity and atmosphere. It is a terrain of silent, fairy tale architecture, built not by hands, but by fundamental forces. The future of lunar sports. In the low gravity of the moon, sports would become a serene balletic spectacle. A basketball player could leap high enough to perform multiple somersaults before a dunk. A soccer ball would travel in a slow, high arc. The Olympics on the moon would be a festival of graceful, slow-motion athleticism, a peaceful reimagining of human physical achievement. The moon's silent seismic differentiators. The Apollo seismometers identified 4 types of moonquakes: deep, shallow, thermal, and those from impacts. Each has its own character and cause, a subtle seismic vocabulary that allows scientists to listen to the moon's interior and understand its structure, much like a doctor listening to a patient's heartbeat and breathing. The consistent fading of human memory, the precise technical knowledge of how to return to the moon, the specific metallurgy, the software code, the engineering tolerances of the Saturn V has been partially lost, scattered in retired minds and outdated formats. It is a knowledge that must be patiently rediscovered, a gentle lesson that even humanity's greatest achievements can fade into a quiet historical dream, if not actively tended. The moon's role in calendars of old. Before precise solar calendars, humanity marked time by the moon's patient, reliable phases. The word month is derived from moonth. This lunar timekeeping was the rhythm of ancient life, governing planting, harvesting, and religious festivals. A celestial clock that ticked in serene, silver intervals across the night sky. The permanence of a single feather. During the Apollo 15 mission, Commander David Scott performed a simple, elegant experiment. In front of the camera, he dropped a geological hammer and a falcon's feather. In the airless void, they hit the ground simultaneously, a perfect demonstration of Galileo's principle that all objects fall at the same rate, regardless of mass. That feather now rests on the lunar surface, a silent, profound teaching aid in the universe's great classroom. The moon's faint, dusty atmosphere of ejecta, the constant micrometeorite bombardment, doesn't just create dust, it launches it. The lunar sky is thus filled with a permanent, tenuous cloud of fine ejecta particles, all on ballistic trajectories, silently arcing and falling back to the surface. It is a slow, perpetual rain of its own soil, a self-generated, dusty halo. The dream of a lunar arc. Scientists have proposed a lunar arc, a genetic library housed in the stable, cold lava tubes containing cryogenically preserved seeds, spores, sperm, and egg samples from millions of Earth species. It would be a global backup, a serene, silent insurance policy for the biosphere, sleeping in the moon's deep, natural vaults. The moon's subtle color changes. During a total lunar eclipse, as the moon passes through Earth's shadow, it doesn't just turn red. Patient observers can see subtle shifts in hue. Bands of turquoise, azure, and violet often appear at the shadow's edge. This is caused by ozone in Earth's upper atmosphere, filtering the sunlight, adding a delicate, chromatic fringe to the coppery disk. The lingering heat of radioactive decay. The moon's interior is still warm, not from its primordial formation, but largely from the slow, steady, gentle heat released by the radioactive decay of elements like potassium, thorium, and uranium within its rocks. It is a deep, radiogenic warmth, a silent atomic fire that has helped keep its interior soft and malleable for billions of years. The moon's ultimate role as a mirror. The moon, in its silent journey, has always held up a mirror to humanity. It reflected our myths, then our scientific curiosity, then our exploratory ambition. Now, as we plan to return, it reflects our potential future and our capacity for stewardship. It shows us not what it is, but what we are and what we might become. The consistent, unifying view. The moon is the only celestial object whose surface features can be seen in detail with the naked eye from every continent on Earth. It is a shared landscape, a common point of reference for all humanity, a silent, unifying symbol in our separate skies, reminding us that we all live under the same, single, beautiful companion. The moon's final lesson in transience. The moon, for all its permanence in human time, is transient in cosmic time. It was born from chaos. It is slowly leaving us, and it will one day be altered or destroyed. Its serene, silent presence is a gentle lesson in the beauty of the ephemeral, a reminder to cherish the moments of perfect alignment, the brilliant full moons, and the quiet, silver light. For nothing in the cosmos, not even the most steadfast of companions, lasts forever. So, as we end our journey through 100 sleepy facts, let them all go. Release the images of silent seas and dusty plains, of drifting footprints and deep, cold shadows. There is no more to know, no more to hold. Just feel the gentle, luminous presence of the moon in your mind. A peace that is ancient, soft, and filled with a quiet, reflecting light. A peace that watches over you now as you drift into sleep. You have journeyed across the face of our celestial neighbor and returned, cradled by the same gentle laws that govern its patient orbit. You are part of this sleepy, moonlit universe, and it is part of you. Good night.